Vows. After the multiverse was destroyed by incursions and recreated in the form of Battleworld, MJ and Peter found themselves in a domain known as Regency. With Spinneret suit, Peter reversed engineered the Empire Unlimited test suit to mimic his own Spider-Man powers for MJ. Hello and welcome to Centurions Corner, and today we are reviewing from Hasbro's Marvel Legends line and the 60th anniversary of the actual man himself. Renew Your Vows double pack with Spider-Man and Marvel's Spinneret. Now I kind of might have even skipped this, to be honest, because I kind of wanted the 60th anniversary Spider-Man, and you can't get him for love or money, to be honest, at the moment, although I have just ordered a bootleg figure version of it, so stay tuned to the channel and wait for that. It should be here in a few weeks time. But because of that I couldn't get hold of that, so I got this Spider-Man here, and we saw the Marvel's or Hasbro's bit on YouTube where he's got extra kind of toe articulation in here as well, so, and he's got a new sort of sculpt head as well, so it looks pretty cool. And obviously we got MJ on the side here. So this is the first time as well that I've had a box without seeing the figures inside, even though it is online anyway, so it's all a bit of a blind bag anyway when you do get it. So here we've got the renders of the figures here, and then we've got some sort of like artwork on the back. We've got that artwork here with more in colour on this side. On the back we've got more renders, more in a sort of action pose with the accessories that they do come with. And on this side we have got the figures once again. On the top it actually got a nice little stamp up here saying Spider-Man 60th anniversary, which is pretty cool. So 60 amazing years. So I guess without further ado, let's just crack these bad people open. Oh, look at this. Oh my god. It just feels horrible where you're paying more money for Hasbro for displaying figures, and even when you get it out, it's not even a nice display, or you could put the figures back after you're sort of done with them, because look at this, it looks like I've been to a birthday party and I've got some little blind bags. So I'm guessing these are the accessories inside there for Spider-Man, and then we've got the accessories here for Spiderette. But look at these, they look like body bags, they look bloody awful. So what we do, we just sort of open them up slightly for our first impressions. Let's just pull him out. Oh my god, looks it's not presentation, you know, I've had bootleg figures in a better presentation than this. Anyway, enough of that to get into the actual figures itself. Yeah, look at that Spider-Man, he looks fantastic. And do you know what, this is my first ever sort of like traditional Spider-Man. The last one I had was a bootleg figure, and unfortunately his pins got a little bit short in the butterfly and it actually snapped off. So yeah, it'd be quite nice to have a traditional Spider-Man on the shelf finally. And then we can look at MJ. Again, looking really nice, nice sharp lines and stuff on here, looks pretty cool. So I'm going to go away, put them through their poses, put them in some action displays, and we'll see you in a moment. Away, we're taking their photos, and oh my god, I love these two. They're absolutely sensational. And the new Spider-Man sculpt, you know, you've got to bear with me because I'm not a massive Marvel Legends collector. However, I can tell there's subtle differences. I've been referencing to the Ben Reilly figure that I have, so I will pick up on those bits and the bits that I don't like particularly too much about it. But these are two fantastic figures, maybe a little bit too overpriced. I mean, it nearly retails about £60. I think you can retail it from about $53.99 to $56.99 or something like that. And but yeah, getting a good Spider-Man figure like this, and he's not available in any time soon on a single figure at the moment. So ideally this might be the better option anyway. So yeah, looking at these guys, so they come with a bunch of accessories, as you can see down here. We have got alternative heads and we have got extra hands. So I'll go through those and then go through individually with these figures here. So taking off out the bat, we'll go through Spider-Man. So he comes with two spread kind of web hands, well, wall crawling hands, shall we call them, and the actual fingertips are slightly a little bit bowed on these ones, looking pretty cool as well. So he comes with 2 of those, which the original retro Spider-Man didn't, which was a bit of a letdown. It also comes with 2 flipping hands, so good sculpt again on there and nice lines as well. It comes with a clenched fist as well on there. So he's got all kind of 3 sets of hands. We've got wall crawling, punching and flipping on there. So he's got 1 of each on this one here. His alternative head of Peter Parker, looking pretty nice actually. It's kind of like traditional Parker, which is fantastic because that's kind of like my repetition of him, especially from the sort of the 90s and the I suppose late 80s as well, especially from the black symbiote costume sort of phase on here. So with that, we can actually just take that off before putting the Spider-Man back on, and it's quite a nice size actually. It actually fits with the Spider-Man pretty well. Doesn't look sort of like over the odd sort of a bit too small and stuff on there, so I think it is a really good likeness. The hair, the eyes and everything we've got going on there looks really cool, nice and brown, and around on the side as well we've got the hair as well, looking pretty cool. So we put that back on, wipe these away, and then we'll put him down so the camera will keep sticking onto Mary Jane. So Mary Jane, she's the same. She comes with a pure white wall crawling hand on here, which is pretty nice, got the detail and stuff on there, but obviously there's no details because she has no webbing on her hands. She has a punching fist as well, which is on here, and then we also have her flipping hand, looking quite nice. So that is her actual accessories for her hands, and then we take off her main head and then put on the Mary Jane head. And I might say that this is really nice looking, really cool. This is the Mary Jane that I kind of sort of reminiscence of a Mary Jane as well from the comics and stuff. They still haven't done her justice in any of the movies. So you've got the green eyes on there, got nice lipstick with the eyebrows and long flowing red hair, looking pretty cool. So let's take her away, swap this head back over, and we'll bring Spider-Man back and go through his articulation. So for articulation wise, we go left, he can go right. He's got a little bit of swagger here. He can look down this far and he can look back this far. There's also a little bit notch taken out the back there of the head, so you can actually put that joint in so you can get even a bit further up. We still have that floaty head looking kind of nest there, but I don't think you're going to get away with it. This gives you more articulation in that neck, but when you sort of like putting him down at a pose and stuff, you're not really going to see that kind of that hole there. Arm wise, we've got full rotation all the way around. He has a nice butterfly joint in there as well, and it can come up to this far. We've got rotation at the upper bicep, and we have got a double elbow joint here, and it is pinless as well. We have got rotation at the wrist, and it's also on a hinge as well. Quite nice. Down at the bottom here, on the diaphragm, we've got the twist here, it goes left and right, and then he can crunch forward this much and then back this much. But then we've got the lower sort of U section here that's taken out, so you can actually crunch right down to this far and then up a little bit, and then also this can go right back as well. So we've got some really good motion in there if you want to bring those arms back. So he's taking some air time and stuff. It's really good. Whatever the retro Spider-Man can do, this one does it, and 10 times more. In his legs wise, he can come up this far, he can go back. He's got legs that come up this far as well, and he's also, like the G.I. Joe from Hasbro, he's actually got dropped hips in there, which don't really add a lot to the figure, to be honest, but they do drop down a little bit more, so you can get a little bit more articulation there in the hip joint. I'm always a bit scared of this because you know what happened to my first G.I. Joe figure. Here we have a rotation here at the upper thigh. We have got a double knee joint as well, and these are pinless as well, which is fantastic. At the boot we have got a swivel as well at the cut here, and then he's got the rocker and the pivot at the ankle, and then we've got the toe articulation as well, which is really, really nice. And the only thing that I would say, what I said at the beginning of the thing, is it's a little bit loose, just a little bit loosey-goosey. So when you are standing him up, you've got to think that he's actually hasn't got as big enough foot. You have to balance him on this part here, because as soon as you put any weight on this, it gives way, and that's the bit of the letdown of it. It's great to have it. It really adds an extra bit of sort of personality into the way that you can pose him. However, just having that little bit of toe there really takes away his sort of stability in sort of like some decent poses. unlike the last one where he had quite big wide feet on there. So yeah, you only got those little parts there. So that's only my downside of the Peter Parker, but yeah, it's looking fantastic. And the difference that you would find in the retro figure is obviously he's got his dropped hips, he has got pinless arms, and he's got pinless legs as well. So yeah, in all, it's like the most pinnacle Spider-Man that's going out there. So going back to Spinneret, so with her, she's got a bit less articulation unfortunately, but her head can go left and right. She can look down this far and she can look back up this far as well. Arm wise, full rotation all the way around and up to this far. There is no butterfly joint in there unfortunately, but she has got rotation at the upper arm there. We have got a double elbow joint here as well, and they are pinless and they come right up to this far. Rotation at the wrist, and it's also on a hinge. We've got a twist here just underneath her sort of breastplate here, and there's no other sort of articulation at all in this bit here, so she is a little bit rigid. On the legs wise, there's no dropped hips on this one, but her legs can come up this far, forward, back, upper thigh rotation. We have a double knee joint here without pins, which is fantastic, and then we have the rocker and a pivot at the ankle, but with no toe articulation. So in all, really, it's the most pinnacle Spider-Man that you can actually pick up at the moment, and this is probably the best female body that's out there that Marvel Legends are giving out, especially with all this is all pinless as well, which is really cool. So with on that, we can actually just go through her kind of sculpt and look. So we start with this one that she's in my hand, and yeah, it really takes away from the actual figure. She looks really nice, literally straight out of the comic strip there. The hair over in a nice little bun on the back, and then we've got a little mask on here. She kind of looks like she's got a bit of buck teeth in there, but it's just the way the light's hitting it. But yeah, it's pretty cool face sculpt, to be honest with you. With the body, it's very kind of striking really, where it's all nice and white and the red on the top, and there's no kind of colour bleed or anything on these kind of parts here. The only thing that looks a bit odd, you can see like there's no sort of like line here that's connecting through here, so that bit always looks a little bit off to me. But apart from that, everything is really crisp, really clean. On the back we've got a nice big red spider logo, and obviously we've got two sort of peg holes here, which is probably because it's used from another body. I'll let you guys tell me what they are from in the comments down below. Down on here on her bum, she's got a nice little oval cherry there, and then going right down, we've got nice feet as well. I thought these might get in the way because I was a bit scared with from Agent Carter that they got away with their toe articulation, but you can move them out of the way, and they are made of soft vinyl as well, so it's pretty cool. And then going to Spider-Man, we can take a closer look at him with his eyes. He's a lot wider than the previous one, and really nice striking on there as well with the nice red black lines going through. Nice big spider on there. It's a very dark blue, very dark. It's even darker than the Ben Reilly that I got, which I thought was quite a dark blue, but yeah, this one's even darker than that, but it doesn't really take away from the figure. I really like it. Again, still striking down on the actual paintwork on here, on the hands and all that, fine. And then going around to the back, we have got his big red spider, which obviously shortens the legs the more you spread open the butterfly joints on there. So yeah, pretty cool, to be honest. It doesn't break it up at all. On here we have got the sort of like belt part that wraps around, so if you bring him right up, it does bring the front of the section a little bit too much really, but if you go back, at least it's already coloured all at the front as well. Down on the legs, obviously it's all just blue, and then going down to his other feet down here, it's all keeping in contact with the nice red and black lines. So all in all, these two are fantastic figures. I would highly recommend, especially if you have missed out on the retro one like I did. And I'm slowly getting into Marvel Legends, and this is why it's my sort of first ever kind of Spider-Man on the shelf, which I feel really degrading for, because I've got Ben Reilly, I've got Scarlet Spider-Man, I've got Tom Holland's, I've got Black Spider-Man. I've got them all out there, but I haven't got an original Spider-Man until now. So with this, we can actually put them through. Let's do a couple comparisons. So let's just bring over Mary Jane. We can bring over Spider-Man and put them up to their kind of height on here. So this is the other sort of bootleg, not bootleg, sorry, this is the retro Spider-Man Ben Reilly that I have. So as you can see, it's quite nice. They still like shoulders at the same height. It just looks a little bit different in the head department because he's got a longer head than this guy. It's a lot shorter there in the face department. What other ones have I got around here? I've got Rhino, so you can see a nice height comparison, which is obviously ginormous compared to these guys, but as you can see, it still fits into line with them. Putting them with your Black Series figures, we've got the Stormtrooper, and they always come up a little bit too short for me. Yeah, it is a Stormtrooper joke, but yeah, I just think Marvel Legends lines are maybe a little bit too overscaled compared to other Hasbro figures, because if I bring in Storm Shadow, yet to be reviewed on the channel, I'll get in there, I promise. These guys are actually about in the same comparison to the Black Series, and then obviously to these guys. So Spider-Man's actually quite short, isn't he? He's like, well, I think he's about my height, which is 5.75, but yeah, he's still quite tall, especially for the Marvel Legends, I think, on that part. So yeah, in all, I think these guys are fantastic, highly worth the money if you have got it. And yeah, looking forward to taking more pictures of these guys further down the line. Let me know what you think. Are you going to get this one? Let me know. Or are you going to skip it because you simply have the retro one? Let me know in the comments down below. You can follow me on Instagram, which is in the description down below. You can subscribe, ding the bell, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.